I'm trying to get Marshall to help me, but he doesn't want to help me. He's coaching me from the sidelines, but he won't get into the game.
No,
See, Marshall knows all these things because when he came to work with me, he was a little boy. And so I could train him well because he paid it. Well, after he grew up, of course, he wouldn't mind me, but in those days he did. No, I'm kidding you. He's a compulsive organizer, the best kind.
C'est un organisateur compulsif, soit la meilleure sorte.
Go ahead, Marshall. Help me. I gotta show off what I've developed, you know. When you're organizing poor people, you have to understand, of course, that there won't be any money. And so you've got to deal then with the other very big decision in your life, and that is how to do without money. And let me just get, because we don't want time to escape, because I want to get your answers, your questions. The biggest fear that we have, I don't know if Canada is the same as the United States in this respect. Maybe it is, and maybe here it's a little different, or somewhat different. But in the United States, the biggest fear that people have is not getting a paycheck every day, every week. It's a crippling fear. You can't act. I mean, people just go to pieces when they think about not having a check, because we're tuned into the super consumer. It's like a cow, you know. The more milk you take out of her, the more feed you gotta give her. So you feed her to milk her, and it just keeps. It's a vicious cycle. If you want to be a successful organizer and money is a problem, it can be solved in two ways. Inherit a lot of money, I mean, just unlimited resources. It has to be inherited so it's yours, or do it without money. I speak of experience. I was once deathly afraid to work without getting a paycheck. And I made that decision. See, I liberated myself. That's more than some of you have done. And found out that once you're not afraid, a lot of young people are doing that these days. They're not afraid of not getting a paycheck. Because see, to get a paycheck every single weekend, every single week, you've got to give all your life to an employer. Most of your life. So it's a big trade. It's a big trade. And I know some people that work for 30 years in a factory and they get a check every single Friday. And at the end of 30 days, they get a gold watch. 30 years. Mm-hmm. For 30 years, yes. Not 29 years. 30 years, sometimes 40 years. Organizing is very creative work. Unfortunately, we haven't yet, the social sciences haven't yet found in universities how to present this to people. But see, one of the great difficulties in organizing is that it's extremely creative. Probably one of the most creative arts you can get into. The big difference is, unlike a workman or unlike an artist, see, painting a picture is extremely creative. But when he's through painting the picture, you can see it. Immediately you can see the results. And you're a workman, if you're digging a ditch or a hole, you know, every time you take a shovelful out of dirt out of that hole, you can see how much you've done. But in community organizing especially, and I'm not talking about labor organizing. Labor organizing is not nearly as difficult as community organizing. Is that it's so creative and so difficult to prove to anyone that what you've done. So if it calls for that much creativity, then you have to be free, otherwise you can't do it. And if you think you're going to do it with a paycheck, you're not going to organize with a paycheck. You can't. There's so many restrictions. And the way we corrected that was we just said, okay, we're not going to get paid. If we gave up our jobs, and it was extremely difficult and very frightening. But when you look back, we haven't been paid, and I haven't got a paycheck in 15 years. I don't know if you've experimented with this. And I'm not speaking here of the young people who haven't yet the responsibility of a family, but if you have a family and you want the best experience in your life, quit your job and do what you like to do. Don't worry about where it's going to come. God will provide. Truly, you don't believe me. It will happen. Ask all our people. We have how many people? How many people are here? It happens. It's too rich. Maybe it can't happen in India, but it happens here. It's too rich. There's food. There's so much. You know how it happens? If you go just knock on doors and ask people you're hungry, they'll give you food. But see, false pride and inexperience keep a lot of people doing the things that they want to do. Some of you have here been thinking of doing something extraordinary, but you're afraid to do it because you can't give up your job. Now's the time to do it. And if it means community organizing, even better. You won't starve. There's no way you can starve in Canada or the United States. I can assure you that. St. Francis of Assisi and Gandhi, they knew very well what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing. In fact, one of the Indian millionaires once remarked that it cost him millions to keep Gandhi in poverty. But we shall stop there, except that that's one topic that we didn't really finish. We just got into, but you have to deal with it, I'm sure. Now, we'll start with the questions.